the table. All right. Raise your hand if you've heard of the story of the Three Little Pigs. So it looks like just everyone's heard of the story. All right. And I hear you all are learning about fairy tales right now.
Yep.
All right. I want you to turn to your partner and I want you to quickly tell them what you know about fairy tales. All right. Pair and share with your partner. Who can raise their hand and tell me what a fairy tale is? Kendall.
A fairy tale is like a fiction story that has magic and magic lands, like fairies.
Cool. All right. So it sounds like everyone. You want to add to it?
Yeah.
What do you know, Bryson?
A fairy tale is made up.
Okay. They're made up. What do you know, Avery?
It has a beginning, middle, and end.
Good. All right. So we're going to quickly review the Three Little Pigs. We've got our characters.
Bad wolf.
Yeah. For our setting, it takes place. There are 3 different houses, right? Good. And so begin with the 3 little pigs built homes.
The first 2 pigs made weak homes out of straw and sticks. The 3rd pig made a strong house out of bricks.
All right, what happened in the middle?
The wolf wants to eat the pigs, so he put them in 2 houses. The wolf cannot go down the brick house, though, because it's too strong.
Good. And let's read the end. There's a lot there, so I'll read it to you quickly. The wolf tries to sneak into the house, going down the chimney. The pigs outsmarted the wolf and had a pot of boiling water at the bottom of the chimney. The wolf burnt himself and was never seen again. All right. So in this story, the wolf's kind of like he's a big bad wolf, isn't he?
Yeah.
Thumbs up, thumb down if you agree. Everyone agrees, looks like. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to read a different version of the Three Little Pigs.
Oh.
It's called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. Some of you all maybe read it already. If you have, don't ruin the surprise about this story.
Okay. We'll try not to.
I know, it's a good book.
Yeah.
Clean your seat.
I can't see because Audrey's story.
Here. Would you mind sitting in
Right here.
Yeah, will you sit next to Avery?
Yeah, because I don't have
Let's see. I always get you two confused, don't you? All right. So let's take a minute. Sit on your bottom, Zan, so everyone can see. Let's take a minute and look at the cover. Raise your hand if you notice something on it. What do you see, Avery?
That the pig is dressed up and the big bad wolf is blowing something and he has glasses.
Good. All right. What about these bars right here?
He's in jail.
All right. Looks like he's in jail. All right. So I wonder what this is going to be about. All right. Who knows?
Who reads the back? He might send him to jail.
Maybe. All right. Everyone knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story, because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. Some kids have. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think they were big and bad too. Or you were big and bad too.
It's a big bag of hamburgers.
But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. Turn it. I know. We're going to read this in a second. I want you all to turn to your partner and tell them what you think the book's going to be about. As of now, we know the real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. Kingston, you can hear those girls. They're here with the pie and the thank you.
I think it's going to be about
Richard.
Like it's all about you. I'm not actually telling you to eat them all.
All right, let's turn back around, guys. This is the real story.
I see the pig's nose.
Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold, and I ran out of sugar.
I can see
Didn't see it? See, there's the wolf making his cake.
Oh.
No sugar in the measuring cup. So I walked down the street to my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? That's pretty similar to the first story, isn't it? The house being made out of straw. So of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without a cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed a great sneeze. So everyone see? Sneezing? And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave perfectly good ham dinner laying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger, just laying there. Would you all leave a cheeseburger just laying there?
No. Yeah.
I like cheeseburgers.
It would be on the ground.
I know, that would be kind of gross. So I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house of sticks. I rang the doorbell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs of my chinny chin chin.
Yes.
Those words are kind of similar to the original story, isn't it? Yeah. I just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed, and I snuffed, and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down, just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now you know, food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He built his house out of bricks. So you can see, like the original story, are all the houses the same? We have the straw house, the stick house, and the brick house.
Yeah.
Thumbs up or down? Are they the same? Travis, you think they're different?
Why?
They have, well, all the houses are the same, right? So we've got our straw house in both stories. We have a stick house in both stories, and there's a brick house in both stories. All right? So you agree now? Think they're similar? Thumbs up? Thumbs down?
Or
Think
to
they're-
decide if you don't know.
Over the side. All right, let's keep reading and find out what happens. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear sweet old Granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed again. Then the third little pig yelled, and your old Granny can sit on a pin. That's not very nice, is it? No.
No.
No, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow. But when somebody talks about my Granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. So this scene, does he look good or bad?
Bad.
Yeah, he looks like kind of like Big Bad Wolf, but he really wasn't, was he? Why wasn't he bad? He just, Audrey, what do you know?
He was trying to make a birthday cake for his parents.
Yeah, he was just trying to be nice and get some sugar. What, Miss Kendall?
He really wasn't a bad one. I don't know why they just named him the Big Bad Wolf.
I don't know either. Let's read on and maybe we'll find out. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down. And they made me a big, bad wolf. That's it. The real story. I was framed.
He ate the 2.
But maybe you can loan me a cup of sugar. Pretty funny ending, isn't it?
He's really old.
I know.
Because he stayed in there too long.
He does. I know he's really long. How do you know he's old? What makes you think that?
Because the beard and all the white hair.
Yeah, and what about his eyes?
And
What's
glasses.
glasses? Not everyone that has glasses is old, but sometimes older people have them. All right, guys. You didn't see that picture? Here. Right here. See?
Connor, it's a
All right.
Why is he old?
Because he's been in jail.
So long.
All right, guys. I'm going to scoop this back.
I like this cover.
You're going to see. All right, so we're going to fill out a story map about this book. All right. Raise your hand. Actually, I want you all to share first. You're going to pair and share with your partner and say who the characters are in the story.
Oh, that's easy. That's easy.
The wolf and the 3 little pigs.
All right, guys. Raise your hand if you know who the characters are. Caden.
The wolf and the little pig and the wolf.
And who else?
The Joe pig.
Let's let Kurtana answer. Kurtana. I always say it wrong, don't I? The reporters, okay. I'm having trouble writing. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. Here we go. Reporter, well, Granny, since they talked about her.